Hello, another how-to video here. This time we're looking at the Zotero exercise tutorial, and I'm just going to give you a sort of a video YouTube answer for the four tasks we did today. So the first thing, I'm going to go over this quite quickly, is creating the Zotero account online. Well, I'm hoping that most people have managed to do that following the other notes, but here you went to Zotero, you should have hit the download link right in the middle. That gives us a page, and there's always two things to do with Zotero. There's this one where we have to download the actual application. I see on my computer there's a red Z at the bottom there. That's because I've already downloaded this and found the downloads file and put the setup of the Zotero 5 package. And also this one, I'm using Firefox, that's my browser of preference. And here, if it says install Firefox connector, you haven't got it installed. Now if you're using Chrome or Safari, this will have been replaced with the Chrome or Safari icon. Anyway, I'm going to install the connector. Here it is, it's coming in. Of course I want to allow it. Continue to installation. And I'm going to add to Firefox, and there the Zotero connector was added. Press OK. And there it is. It's up in the top corner already. That is sometimes a grey Z if you're using it for the first time, but I've used it before and it knows I'm reattaching it. So it's giving you the icon for a web page with a snapshot. Okay, so that's all installed. Let's get to the exercise. Well, here's the exercise. I've done the exercise here. The first part was to get these papers and insert them into this bit of text. So here many risk factors have been associated with lameness in dairy cattle. These include factors relating to poor cow comfort or reduced lying times. Now, because of my previous knowledge and previous reading, I knew that this was the case. I just need some supporting evidence. So I often left myself, when I'm writing chapter book for a book or journal paper, a refs needed reminder. So I'm going to highlight that refs needed and I'm going to replace that with references. Now I've actually downloaded these into my Zotero library already, but let's just take you through one. So if you were doing this exercise proper, you press Control click to go and follow that DOI address, and that would go to this paper here. That's the Cook and Nordland paper from 2009, and here up here we've got the wrong icon. So if you just click there, and you see I've had to wait for a little bit. Now the icon has changed into a Save to Zotero Science Direct one. Now it's got the right format. If I used the previous format, it wouldn't have given me the right format for future use. I have to be a bit patient to wait for the icon to change. I'm going to click that. When I click it, oh, Zotero isn't running. I need to get my Zotero program running. Here it is. Now I've got all these papers in already. Yours will be blank at the first use. And let's try that again. So I'm going to try it again. Save it to my library. It's not giving me the full text PDF, but actually I found that it is putting that into my library. So let's have a look at the library. There it is at the top. There. Okay. Right. So I've now got all the references that I need here. So following your notes, you now know that because I've got Zotero running here, and I've got a Zotero menu up here. Some people with the MacBooks might have to restart the computer to get that working, but generally Zotero should be appearing here. So I'm going to insert the citations. I select all of this, including the brackets. I go to Zotero, and I'm going to add the citations. I'm going to add these four papers and replace that bit of text. So here we go. Add citation. Now I'm going to go for Barker 2007. And there it is, and I can just click on that reference and it adds it in there. And then at Barker 2010. I've got two here, but it's actually the Barker et al. Is the one I want. But the David Main paper has got Zoe Barker in there as well. So I'm going to click the top one. And then I want Cook. Got a whole load of Cooks, but the one I want here is this Cook and Nordland. Well, look, I've got it in the database twice, so I've got two references the same. It doesn't matter which one I choose then, I'll choose the top one. And then the last one is Dipple. I've only got one of those, so I click that one too. Okay. And if I press return now, it's put it all in the text. Don't worry about being grayed out. I've actually set my computer to mark Zotero references in these in grey all of the time. But if you are using it on your normal computer without changing it, it would only be grey if you highlighted it, if you put the cursor somewhere within the reference. That's perfect. Full stop there, and that's a perfect piece of academic writing. So that's task 1 done. Task 2 is the same again, only I'm going to use a book reference. So I've got an Amazon link here. Amazon used to be very good at indexing these things. I'm going to find you an alternative to that. But here I'm going to follow this link. And here's my Amazon page here. And now in the top corner we've got a blue icon. And that blue icon is a book reference. So I click that one, saving it to my library again. Let's go and check in Zotero. There it is, measuring behavior. Classic text for animal behavior. Those of you interested in behavior will be citing that a lot. Okay, so it's in there. All the details are correct. I've got the place of publication. I've got the publisher there. I've got the updated edition in there. So I'm going to minimize that. I go back to my exercise. And here I'm going to do the same again. Oops. Let's highlight it all. And I'm going to insert the citation. And this time I could write Martin or Bateson, but I'm going to write measuring behavior. Notice I can use any of the search terms. So I could have just put in behavior and had this. But look, I've got quite a few in there. I've forgotten my database several times. This first one's wrong. Look, it's missing Martin and Bateson. It's missing their second name. So I'm going to choose this one, Martin and Bateson, Cambridge University Press, Cambridge. Boom. Press return there, and there it is in the text. Follow that with a full stop, and that's the second part done. Task 3, very straightforward. Insert a reference list. So essentially for this exercise, I just want a reference list for these papers and for this paper, all in one reference list. But it says use a Journal of Animal Science style. Okay, so first I've got to get that style into Zotero, and I've taken it out of Zotero so I can add it back. So here, let's go to Zotero. When I go to Edit and Preferences, I have all of these things, and under Cite, I have all the different styles. So you see, I've added a few already. There's animal welfare, for example. There's a general Elsevier one. But I want to add the Journal of Animal Science. So I click the plus. No, I don't. I click Get Additional Styles. The Zotero box is opened on the other screen. So it's here, and I've got a title search. I'm going to type in Animal Science. And it's one of those clever searches that does it as you go. And it's that third one that I want. You see, it's quite neat. So the third one's quite neat. You see, it's got the DOI address, and it's got a nice tidy version of presenting books and journals and papers. So I'm going to click there, and you should see it has appeared on my list, Journal of Animal Science. It's an American journal, but it seems to work for me. So we'll go for that one. That's okay. Okay, so now I want to go back to Word, and now I've added the right style in there. We can go to Zotero, we can go to Add Bibliography, and here it is. It's added the first reference there, and the other ones have added underneath. Now, it's just added it in, it's not really asked me what I wanted to do in terms of a style, because in my document preferences, I've got this one set up. And I've got it currently set for Harvard, so here we've set it for Journal of Animal Science. That's okay. And you see it's changed it very slightly. Okay. So that's task 3, all complete. So the last thing to do on here is identify one mistake for each citation in the reference list below. Okay, so a few reference list problems here. This first one is a book reference. Nothing wrong with the um, layout here. Appleby MC, that's Mike Appleby, and here Barry Hughes. Now the Journal of Animal Science lays it out with surname and then initials, but then on it's initial surname, initial surname, initial surname. That's not a problem, that's just that style. There's a year, that's the title of the book, there's your edition, there's your publisher. But quite often the place of publication is missing, and in this case this is an Oxford. Covey Publishing is in Oxford, so I need to add Oxford. I'm just going to highlight these just to make them nice and clear. Oh, so Oxford is what was missing here. In the second reference, if we look at all the other references, we ignore all the underlying in red for the spelling mistakes and everything, here there's one difference between that one and all the others. See, we have Physiology and Behaviour is the journal title. Here we have a very long journal title here. Studies in History and Philosophy of Biological and Biomedical Sciences. Here, this is a better clue, Applied Animal Behaviour Science. But here, we've got the abbreviated version, App Anim Behaviour Sci. In itself, abbreviations are fine. A lot of journal styles use them. But you mustn't mix and match. So you can't have this abbreviated style when everything else is in full. That's a really common mistake. So that is our mistake there. Get it all? Is the abbreviations where all the other references are in full. The next one is a typical mistake, but really difficult to spot. So all these references here, if we look at a journal, it often has, say, 12 issues a year. So in the Applied Animal Behaviour Science, if it has one in January, one in February, one in March, it had 12 issues. And sometimes you have the issue number included in the reference, like here. We've got the issue numbers included here, but by convention, we tend not to include those because they're not always given. So it's not on this one, and it's not in this one, and it's not in any of the other ones. So here, having the issue numbers here and nowhere else means there's a lack of consistency, the magic word. So here, we would go through our reference list and we would delete everything after the journal volume number, but before the colon, to get rid of those issue numbers. And just very quickly, the last few mistakes. Here, this is a really obvious one. Zotero can only report what somebody has put in there, and here somebody has typed in the title in capital letters. That's all fine if it's all in capital letters, although it's a bit shouty. But here, so we don't like the capital letters when everything else is in normal text. In this one, this is quite a tricky one. Here, the Panthera tigris on your example is actually not in italics at all. It should be. Panthera tigris is the genus species name for tigers and therefore should be in italics. So I'm going to put it back how it was in your version. Here, again, needs to be in italics. It's a species name. Zotero will change anything like that in the title to plain text. So you need to go through and find all your genus and species names and put them back in italics. Big P, little t in this case. The last one, two famous academics from that distinguished institution of Writtle University College. It's good to see the first names, but not if they're nowhere else. So here, having the full names like this, it looks right in itself, but is inconsistent with the others. So that should be Van Veckel, comma, N dot, and with an ampersand, not an and. Oh no, there's an and there. And Amory, comma, J dot. So that's the last mistake. Actually, referencing is going to add a good grade or two to your coursework and your dissertation work. So make sure you get on top of these mistakes. Zotero is really good. It's about 95% correct. But for professional standards, you want to be 100%. These are the 6 most commonly made mistakes, particularly the abbreviations, the issue numbers, and also the italics for species names. Put those right, and you're well on your way to a good mark. Well done, and thank you for watching.